Hey guys, Ryan here. First and foremost, I've ultimately decided to name the channel. Now this name may change in the future, but as for right now, we are naming the channel What Are We Doing? And the reason why we're naming the channel What Are We Doing is because I feel like it relates to a multitude. My English is not very good right now, apparently. It relates to a multitude of things, right? Number one, what are we doing today? Right? Number two, what are we doing with our lives? And I feel like that's a question I ask myself every day. So I felt like it fit very well. I feel like it leads into, maybe potential videos in the future. And so, yeah, that's the channel name. What are we doing? And I feel pretty good about it. I feel pretty happy about it. And I hope you guys like that channel name too. If you think it should be something different, please leave a comment. Let me know. But for now and for at least the next, I think it's 30 days because of YouTube's policy, it's going to be What Are We Doing? Um, Today, what we're doing is we're talking about habits. We're talking about 4 good habits to build and 4 bad habits to break. And the reason why I'm talking about both is because life kind of always just looks at the negative, right? Like we're always kind of focused on the bad things in life, the bad things in our own lives or in the world or what's going on. And we should focus on the positive. We should focus on the good things as well. So yeah, that's what today's video is about. 4 good habits to build and 4 bad habits to break. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I've got stuff written on flashcards. So if you guys like see me look down or over or whatever, please ignore that. I'm doing my best. I am working with the minimum budget I can, making this content, making these videos. And so it's just a work in progress. And yeah, we'll go ahead and get started. I guess we'll just go one and one, one and one, one and one, one and one, just because I feel like that's probably going to be the easiest way to do it. So starting off with number one, and originally I had five. I had 5 good habits and 4 bad habits, but number one and number four kind of intermingle a little bit to a degree. So it was just really easy to do. But number one is reading slash learning. Now, I know that pretty much through our whole adolescence, right? Our or not adolescence. Yeah, adolescence, youthful, right? I feel like I'm using that term wrong. Probably using that term wrong. But anyway, um we are always studying for school, reading books that nobody really cares about, stuff like that, right? And we're always wondering like when's the math gonna when are we gonna use this math equation in real life, right? Like when am I ever going to really use that? And I feel like the older I've gotten, the more that I've found those situations. Now, maybe not necessarily with math, but definitely in like how I talk, how I present myself, right? Wanting to be more literate, literally using me from like 35 seconds ago as an example, right? Like I used adolescence, and I don't know if that's the correct term or not. That's literally the perfect example of why we should be learning and reading and understanding more, right? Is that exact little niche scenario I just accidentally did. Perfect example. Um, but if you want to get anywhere in life, you need to have some form of education and understanding, even if it's like becoming a plumber or an electrician, right? Things that maybe like you don't go to traditional school for, but you go to trade school for. You have to have an understanding and knowledge of things. You have to be literate, and you have to be able to absorb knowledge. And if you can't do that, then you are going to suffer in that sense. So yeah, I would say definitely a very good habit to build. Starting off with a bad habit, um, and it kind of again started with 5, went down to 4. Pornography and masturbation. This isn't for everyone. I know people who function very well in most situations and do very well in most situations who watch porn and masturbate. But for a lot of people, there's a lot of bad side effects, right? It can create low energy. It can be addicting. You can affect your social life, right? It's just kind of the tip of the iceberg, right? There are a lot of cons to it. I know there's a lot of pros. There's some health benefits to it as well, but ultimately, even for like myself, there were days where I would just do nothing and just only do that and have no energy for anything else and have no motivation for anything else. And so I would definitely say, to the best of your degree, to keep it in control, it's a habit that you should try and break. Um, Habit number two, good habit, meditation. And I'm not necessarily talking about the traditional form of meditation, right? Like I'm not talking about throwing a mat down on the middle of the floor, crossing your legs, closing your eyes, and eating your fingers like that, right? I'm not necessarily talking about that, but there are things that are meditative that you can do in your everyday life, right? I type. Typing is a form of meditation for me. It's almost soothing. It's a way for me to vent almost and to just kind of let go. I'll type about my day. Journaling is, I would say, another form of meditation, right? Even slam poetry, writing music, whatever you got to do to meditate and kind of just let go of the anger from the day or the emotions from the day and just grow yourself as a person is a really good habit to form. It's because so many people just bottle stuff inside and hold it until you hit that breaking point, and then it's too late. Something happens. There's a consequence, right? So I would say it's definitely a very good habit to form. Number two, sugar and caffeine. And this has been a big one for me. I love sugar. I love sugar. Obviously, I'm a big guy. Like there should be no doubt in my mind. But soda, which is like the number one issue that I was having, such an issue, right? Um and it talks a lot about like drinking your calories versus, intaking your calories, stuff like that. But ultimately sugar, it you get dependent upon it. Sugar and caffeine can make you anxious, it can create insomnia issues. And I mean, and even now that I'm like leaning off of it, still struggle with my sleep schedule, but it's gotten better. My sleep schedule has gotten so much better compared to what it used to be, and I've changed up the type of like energy drinks I drink. For example, currently I'm drinking Bangs or Celsius just because of the amount of sugar in them and caffeine. But ultimately, I mean, I was drinking Red Bulls. I would go to Dutch Bros and get drinks. And don't get me wrong, treat yourself every now and then, but the daily use of all these things or the daily use of the same quantity of these things do have their repercussions and their side effects, right? It can be tough mentally on you, and definitely I think we all can agree that we want the best for everybody, right? So just something to keep in mind. Um, Number three, this habit's a little controversial, but it's taking risk, right? You have to get in the habit of taking risk in life. And I know that seems kind of weird to say out loud and to think about, but just let me paint a picture for you. I'm currently not working. I'm on disability, and thankfully my doctor was able to extend my disability. Number one, since I am still having issues, but number two, because this area is really hard for work right now. And I decided to take the risk to start doing this, start making content, start making, you know, streaming content and YouTube content, TikTok talk content. Man, say that to 3 times fast. Um, but I took a risk in doing it, right? There's a lot of time that goes into this. There's a lot of time recording my videos. This is like my fourth or fifth try on this video, right? And we're already, I don't know, 9, 10 minutes in right now. And I've messed up a couple times already, but I'm keeping this cut, right? So you can imagine. Plus there's editing, right? And I'm not even done. I'm not even like halfway through. So, but I'm taking this risk, hoping it goes somewhere, hoping to better my life. And I think that's important. I think in order to make changes in your life and to better your life, you have to take risks. Um, Bad habit number 3 to break, not having a schedule, right? Don't get me wrong, you can have your weekends and you can kind of be free on your weekends and do whatever you want. You know, you can stay up a little bit later, stuff like that. But in general, you should build a schedule, right? It helps you with better sleep. It helps you cause fewer mistakes. It allows you more free time in the long run too. If you schedule your time correctly and you know you schedule your projects accordingly and whatnot, you can free up more time to do some of the stuff that you love. I think it's very smart to adhere and focus on a schedule. Something that I'm doing is I have a calendar hanging up now, and I have a whiteboard here with the days on of what I'm doing content wise, and you know, trying to schedule stuff out a little bit better there. And it's definitely helped me mentally. It's helped me focus on things I need to focus on. Last but not least, uh, they coincide together, right? The good and the bad. So the good is embrace nature more, go for walks, and the bad is get the hell off your technology, which is crazy for me to say because I need you here on technology to view this for me to build a career. But I also know that we have become dependent as a society on technology, and we can take the smaller things in life for granted, right? The water around us, the trees, the fresh air, and the animals running around. Embrace nature, love it, really learn more about what's out there, you know, educate yourselves. And also like it's healthy, right? Like getting up, going outside, walking, taking walks, taking your dog for a walk, you know, is a very healthy habit to form. And it's also a really unhealthy habit to break, right? We are so dependent on our phones, on who's doing what, and what did Kim Kardashian say, and oh, Kanye West is, you know, anti-Semitic and this and that. And I'm not like downplaying anything, right? Like it's important to keep up to date on stuff, but take a break, take a step back, learn to let go of the world's problems and focus on yours. And that's it, guys. That it you know, it seems like a very like overly complicated a video when I was working on this, but really this was probably one of the easier videos I've had to record. I know it's a little bit longer and I apologize for that, but ultimately I think these are really good habits for us to form and really bad habits for us to break. And some of you guys may not agree with me on some. Some of you guys may agree with everything. You may even have suggestions on other good habits and bad habits to form and to break. And that's okay. You're allowed to have your opinion and you're allowed to create a conversation. Um, and I look forward to having a conversation about it. I want to thank you guys for watching this video. Hopefully you guys stayed until the end, and I'll catch you guys next time. Have a good one.